Hello. Uh, this is a cool postcard from San Francisco Mission District. Used to be a record store there called Discolandia. It's no longer there. But this is about Ulysses, right? It's not about Discolandia, or is it? And today we're doing page 24. And I mentioned this last time. I, th- I think it's interesting to me. Let me get this shadow out. Like I said, like people say this is the end of chapter one and the beginning of chapter two, and yet there is no heading called chapter one or chapter two. It's just these blank spaces here. And I guess in a way, the blank space does demarcate something. There's no words there, there's no letters there. But if it said chapter two, it would train us to think about this book in segments of chapters, which I think is wrong. So let's pretend this is just page 24. And all of a sudden, we're doing something else. We have Stephen, who's kind of this anchor, just like we'll have Bloom later being a sort of anchor. But as you'll see, Stephen is not really an anchor. It's sort of like a dinghy adrift. And Bloom is the anchor. Penelope, Molly Bloom, might be an even bigger anchor. But all of a sudden, we're thrown into a new thing. And if you're a regular reader, and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, I mean that if you're a regular person who grew up thinking that there are plots and there's characters and there's arcs and there's heroes and they fall down and they get back up, this book is just going to make you have a headache if you're trying to read it that way. So don't try to read it that way. Just look at the words and see what happens. See what comes up for you, as my previous therapist, Dr. Danny, would say. And where does it affect you in your body? And even me saying these sounds of the letters is wrong because my voice is not this. And this, when I say the word you, it's not the printed word Y-O-U, comma. And think about the font and the spaces and the way in which quotes are written, or there's no quotation marks. You just have to like guess a lot of the time. But let the book be your guide and know that it's a high octane guide. All right. This is page 24 and it doesn't even have the number 24. Let's put the number 24 here. There you go. Page 24. And there's a shadow too. You, Cochrane, what city sent for him? Tarentum, sir. Very good. Well, there was a battle, sir. Very good. Where? The boy's blank face asked the blank window. Fabled by the daughters of memory, and yet it was in some way, if not as memory fabled it. A phrase, then, of impatience. Thud of Blake's wings of excess. I hear the ruin of all space, shattered glass and toppling masonry, and time one livid final flame. What's left us then? I forget the place, sir. 279 BC. Asculum, Stephen said, glancing at the name and date in the gore-scarred book. Yes, sir. And he said, another victory like that, and we are done for. That phrase the world had remembered, a dull ease of the mind. From a hill above a corpse-strewn plain, a general speaking to his officers, leaned upon his spear. Any general to any officers. They lend ear. You, Armstrong, Stephen said. What was the end of Pyrrhus? End of Pyrrhus, sir? I know, sir. Ask me, sir, Comyn said. Wait, you, Armstrong, do you know anything about Pyrrhus? A bag of fig rolls lay snugly in Armstrong's satchel. He curled them between his palms at whiles and swallowed them softly. Crumbs adhered to the tissues of his lips. A sweetened boy's breath. Well-off people, proud that their eldest son was in the Navy. Vico Road, Dalkey. Pyrrhus, sir? Pyrrhus. A peer. All laughed, mirthless, high, malicious laughter. Armstrong looked round at his classmates, silly glee in profile. And that's where we're thrown in. We know the word Stephen because this was a person from the previous pages, but we're not sure what's going on here. But I think what we can tell is that he is teaching a class, and it seems that they are young boys that he's teaching. And I really like this paragraph here. It's not sure who's saying it or why or what, but it has these nice phrases fabled by the daughters of memory. And yet it was in some way, if not as memory fabled it. A phrase, then, of impatience. Thud of Blake's wings of excess. I hear the ruin of all space, shattered glass, and toppling masonry, and time one livid final flame. What's left us then? There's something really sad about and epic about this. I think it's Stephen's thinking about how he can transform his little classroom of rich, privileged little kids into a meaningful moment in time and history of the universe. And he's almost not able to. And I think it points to Stephen's not innocence, his immaturity, that he is so bitter towards these kids. He calls them well off. So maybe it's a private school. Stephen's some kind of a teacher. He's teaching them, he's just teaching them to memorize numbers and places and not really teaching them how to think. He's teaching them to be a regular person, to be indoctrinated into understanding the world through the eyes of quote unquote regular people, which, as we know, is like this European system of knowledge where you put things in boxes. And he's being a little bit arrogant, I feel like. He wants to make fun of Armstrong because Armstrong's just eating fig Newtons in class and he doesn't know anything. But he knows that Armstrong's brother is in the Navy and they're well off people. That's what I got for page 24. Have a nice night. Be safe.